because we are really in a disruptive area, as you will hear right now. It's a pleasure to be here. My name is Markus Fendt. I'm representing our CEO, Thomas Raffiner. I'm one of the co-owners and managing directors of Mobility House, and we are working in the field of storage. Why are we doing that? Why do we get up? We are now 40 people every morning striving to realizing storage, to monetize this storage. It's because we are in a very disruptive area currently. We have seen it before from the energy side, and we see it on the automotive side. And to bring that together, this is what we are striving for, kind of to make out of 1 + 1, not 2, but 3. We think the world can't be or can stay like it is currently. So we have to do something against the CO2 increase. We have to do something against the temperature increase. We can't leave the world for our children like it is today. I'm on the podium now. End of this century, I would be still dry here. Jan would get wet feet in Berlin if we still work and exhaust our nature like we do today. So we have to do something. We have to do something against emissions, and this is happening. It's happening by a lot of regulations. We already see that. Nearly every country has regulations ongoing when it comes to emissions, and not just countries, also city. Every city is doing something. We have problems in Munich. We have problems in Stuttgart. So we have to do something, and we are doing something already. Michael from New Energy Finance and Bloomberg said this morning, we have a solar tsunami. Solar prices decrease significantly. And while prices decrease, quantities or installations go up significantly. And not only in Europe like in the past, but now also in Asia. And the cheapest thing you can invest today is actually wind and solar. Nobody would invest anymore into conventional power plants, even the French, and they really like nukes. They're now thinking about investing in a nuclear power plant in the UK. So we have grid parity already for most of the renewable energy, and that's going the right direction. But it is increasing volatility, it's causing problems. So this picture shows the kind of production sites we have currently in Germany, wind and solar. We have 1.5 million producers in Germany currently. If I would have shown you that picture 40 years ago, there would be 100 dots. So that volatility increases our problems in the energy grid. We hardly can handle it. In that area here, the 50 hertz area, last year, the TSO had to react on 333 days of the year. So he has to intervene into the grid. It's a huge problem, and it's causing a lot of costs currently. We have to extend our grid. It's a huge problem, costs a lot of money. And we have to control our load, because if we implement more and more electric cars, we have to control them. Will electric cars come? Yes, they will come. Yesterday, Mr. Kagermann said on the Hanover Fair, 2020 to 2030 will be the decade of electric cars. So it's not a question anymore for everybody who is a little bit informed about that electric car will succeed. And it will be much more than just the Tesla, which is standing in front of the door, and it will go really fast. If you look to the history, in 1908, New York, just horses. One car is on the picture. I don't ask you now to look for that. 10 years later, you just find one horse on that picture. So we have 520 weeks, like Lars Thompson said in his speech, and then the area will look totally different. But it will be also the solution for the problems I described before, because storage is getting out volatility. Storage is offering flexibility, and storage will be abundant. In every car, there is a battery. The battery is now 20 kilowatt hours, next year 60 kilowatt hours. This battery you can make use of in the car and also later on in a second use application. And these batteries are written off already because they are bought for the car, for driving. We all know that we drive around 40 kilometers a day and for 5% of the daytime. So the rest of the time, the battery is sitting there, not used. And the battery can be used in a second life application because it's not under such a stress than it is in a car lifetime. So storage is the answer. Storage is offering flexibility, and storage is generating money. And this we will make use of. How do we do that? By vehicle to home, vehicle to grid, especially vehicle to grid, by applying second-use batteries to the market, by applying a lot of different products to the market. So you can take a car, the Nissan Leaf can do that already. You can take a charger, which charges bidirectional, and you connect it to the grid. This you do not just once, you do it multiple. And by then, you have storage of the car applied to the grid. It's working from a technical point of view already today. Costs are still an issue, but as we have seen before from the solar example, as we know from inverters, cost is a matter of scalability. And second-use application also already exist. So you take the batteries out of the car and put them in shelves, connect them together, and apply them to the grid. This is done already today. And it's not just one product you can apply to it. There are multiple products. We have heard that before from Sunfire already. There are so many stakeholders in the market, utilities, TSO, and so on. All those have a certain product in the market, and those products are increasing. And other countries like the US or the UK, they are even faster applying new products to the market. So it's not just one product where the market is filled pretty well. It's a continuous development by incorporating more and more renewables. What does Mobility House do in that field? We have a technology in place and developing it continuously, which makes use of all those cars in a swarm, offers them to the energy markets, knowing what the drivers need, what the battery needs, and applying that to the energy market and making money out of those markets. We do that already with more than 10 car manufacturers in different ways, sometimes just controlled charging, sometimes bidirectional charging, so-called vehicle to grid. And if you look to the potential, we are talking about between 500 and 1,500 euros you can make with a battery over a year in the energy markets. So knowing that the average profit of a car manufacturer is around 1,000 euros, not talking about a 7 Series BMW, but the average, you can say it's around 1,000 euros profit, which is left with a car manufacturer. Now they have the potential of earning that on a continuous basis. You see the disruption. You see why electric mobility will not only be implemented because it's better, it's nicer to drive, and it's forced by regulation, but it's also necessary to apply new business models and very lucrative business models for the car manufacturers. And not only in first uses, as said before, but when the car is kind of, or the battery is after 5, 8, 10 years not feasible in a car anymore, we take it, as we currently do with Daimler. We have 3,000 batteries with Daimler. We apply to a kind of big tent, connect them together with inverters, and then we gain another 5,000 to 10,000 euros in a 5 to 15 years second use lifetime out of that battery. Means additional revenue. This applying to the car now and to the TCO of a car, you can imagine what kind of advantage this will be for a car manufacturer. And this is what we say, and what Mobility House will realize. We will make electric cars so cheap that only the rich can afford to drive gasoline cars. Thank you very much for your attention. If you're interested, we are looking for an investment, so just contact me. If you didn't understand the concept completely, please contact me. It will be disruptive. In 10 years, everybody from us will have it, and you will see a lot of new business models applying to something like this. It's a pleasure.